Finance, Mumbai. He has played significant role as a head program manager at Sadhan Association of Community Finance and Institutions, as a manager at Pragati Gramin Bank, Bareilly. He has earned a PGDM MBA with a focus on finance and human resource management from XLRI Jamshedpur, and has made a significant contribution to the academic field, having authored numerous publication and book chapters on topics such as sustainable development goals, poverty in global context, and digital transformation in bank, among others. He is also associated with renowned journals such as the Journal of Development Research, IIFB, Mudra, Journal of Finance and Accounting, etc. Sir is serving as a senior advisory board member for the Taru Foundation with a mission to promote sustainable growth in Indian society. We are highly honored to have such distinguished personnel as our expert with us. We welcome you, sir. Sir, please.
Thank you very much. How can I share the PPT?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, please.
Just a minute. I think it is not allowing.
Just a second, sir. So now you can share, sir.
I think it is. Just a minute. Yeah. Now whether my PPT is visible? Hello?
Yes, sir. It is showing presenting. Yes, sir. It is visible now.
Visible, sir.
Yeah. How many people are there? Hello?
72.
Present.
72. All are faculties or what is their background?
Sir, most of them are from corporates, some research scholars, some
Yeah.
finance students, some faculties.
Friends, today what I do is, because it is a first day of the program, and I will focus more on the basics of climate action, sustainability, what is climate change, and what are the initiatives taken, and what are the targets and particularly India, how it is faring, and then I will go to the ESG related aspect, and then finally what is the role of banks. Like this, I will be discussing, and hope this will be all right. To start with, any idea what is climate action? Hello, anyone? Yeah, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, climate action is a set of strategies and initiatives to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to climate change. There are two things. One is reducing greenhouse gas emission. It is mostly like mitigation strategies, and adapting to climate change. It is adaptation, it is called. And these two put together, all the climate action is what all the initiative taken to do this, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to climate change are referred as the climate action. In this regard, there are various policies and programs and measures are there. Those are reducing greenhouse gas emissions, transition to renewable energy. What are these greenhouse gas emissions? Any idea? What are these greenhouse gases? Anyone? Are you?
Sir, those emissions like carbon dioxide, methane, carbon
Yeah, yeah.
tetrachloride, even water vapor, sir.
Yeah. You are right. Yeah, you are aware of it. I will also discuss in the subsequent slides. And transition to renewable energy. Can you name few sources of renewable energy? Hello.
Solar energy, sir.
Solar energy.
Yeah, solar. Yeah. Any
Solar,
other?
wind farm.
Yeah, correct. And improve climate resilience. What is this? Climate resilience?
Action
Bringing
to
the climate to the normal conditions.
Whatever changes in the climate is there, whether are we able to adjust with that climate? That is what improving climate resilience. And promote sustainable practices, various practices. We will discuss those sustainable practices and support and finance climate action goals. These are the policies and programs measures that are coming under the climate action. And the activities include energy related, for example, switching to renewable energies, and wherever possible saving the energy and improving efficiency, electric vehicles, using electrical vehicles, and in respect of transportation, taking other modes, public transportation and walking, biking, wherever only essential, wherever essential is there we are using, we need to use the required transportation. And waste reducing and reusing, repairing, recycling, instead of avoiding the waste. And food, eating more vegetables and reducing other wastage has to be reduced. Building standards, more efficient building standards. And agriculture, climate smart agriculture practices. Carbon capture, using carbon capture and storage. And afforestation, implementing afforestation and afforestation project. These are the actions which are to be initiated under climate action. Now, the another word which we are discussing is sustainability. What is meant by sustainability?
Sir, making the environment for the future use, sir. That is maintaining
correct.
the environment.
You are right. The practice of meeting the needs of the present, not only meeting our current needs, but also
Hello?
without
नमस्कार
hello.
जी जी नमस्कार जी
Yeah, without compromising the future needs, if you are using the resources and other things for the current needs, then that is called sustainability. What all it involves? It involves environment, balancing the environment, economy, and equity, and maintaining that allow humans, along with the nature, human has to exist, and using resources carefully. The resources should not, all the resources are limited, and they have to be used judiciously, and it needs to be, we need to take care of for the future also. And it is a long term. Considering the long term interest, we need to use the resources at present. And also this triple bottom line, people, planet, profit, all need to be balanced. Then coming to the sustainability, what are the sustainable practices? These cutting emissions, lowering energy usage, sourcing products from fair trade organizations, ensuring proper waste disposal, and promoting diversity and fairness in workforce, enacting policies that benefit the local community. Means this sustainability includes all these ESG. What is the ESG? Any idea? Sustainability includes ESG. What is that? ESG?
Environment, social, and governance.
environment, social, and governance. These concepts we will discuss at a later date in detail, and why it is important. Enhance the quality of life for all. See, your the this whole FDP's title is aptly mentioned, like climate action and sustainability for enhancing the quality of life for all. See, that is what it is the importance of sustainability. Help ensure that communities are clean and safe, and address issues like health, education, equal opportunity for all. All these things has to be taken into account. Now, having said that, what is the difference between climate action and sustainability? Is there any sustainability,
Excuse me,
or
sir.
both are same? Hello, both
Excuse
are
me,
one
sir.
and same,
Sir,
or hello?
your PPT is stationary, sir. Only the first slide
Uh,
is showing. It is not moving.
okay, but it is moving in here. I don't know.
Sir, you have to use a slideshow, sir. You have to use slideshow.
No, I
At the
have
top,
used
you
the
will have
slideshow only.
slideshow. No, no, sir. No, sir. You have to use a
Huh?
slideshow and with from current slide. From current slide.
Just a minute. I will once again share it. Uh, yeah. Now I have used the slideshow. It is moving. Hello.
So it is not visible, sir.
No,
You
sir.
have to
No, sir.
share it, sir. You have to share it, sir.
Just a minute. Just a minute. Uh, just a minute. I think it is again. I have to share, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Uh, just a minute. This one. Now it is visible. Hello.
Not,
No.
sir. Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
visible, sir. But actually, still, slide share has not been
Just a
made, sir.
minute. Just I will
Full
make
screen, full
slide
screen.
share.
You have to make
Now,
full screen, sir.
now it is full screen.
No, sir. No,
Yes,
sir.
sir. It is okay now.
But here it shows full screen. Just a minute. Wait for a minute.
Slide number 2 is showing, sir.
Yeah, I know that slide number two only I am playing shown. I will skip it. Just a minute.
So at the top, that is the
Yeah,
seventh tab, slideshow.
just a minute. Now it is visible. Hello.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Slide number 2 is showing, sir.
Yes. Where is the this one? Here.
So at the top, seventh tab is slideshow.
Sorry to cut in, sir. Sir, can we operate on your behalf
Yeah, yeah.
from
You
our
can
side?
operate also. No problem.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Or else, where is the this one? Do I need to stop sharing? Hello.
Sir, kindly stop sharing from your side.
Yeah, I have stopped sharing.
Yes, sir. So just give us 2 minutes, we'll share.
Yeah.
So we have started sharing. Kindly
Yeah,
let
yeah, I
us know.
go. Yeah. I'm. It is visible.
So which slide?
Go to next slide. That what is sustainability? Yeah. Next. After that.
Sir, after what is sustainability?
Triple bottom after that. Next slide. Yeah. This we have finished. Sustainability. Next. Yeah. Uh, mm, this is the slide. Can you make it slightly bigger?
Sir, it's full
Means
screen.
it is full screen. It is showing me
Yes, sir.
this one. Okay, it's okay. For me, it's okay. Candidates are seeing full screen or okay. Uh, mm, who is this person in the? Anyone can identify this person? There is a photo in the slide. Anyone can identify? Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, there is a photo in the slide. Who is this person? Anyone can identify?
Minister of Norway.
Yeah, former
Sir,
Prime Minister of Norway.
her
Former
name is
Prime Minister of
mentioned in the
Norway,
slide, sir. Go
Brundtland.
Arlen.
Yeah, she was the chairman of the this World Commission on Environment and Development, and this World Commission on Environment and Development, which was founded by United Nations in 1983, and this commission, gave its report in 1987. The title report was titled "Our Common Future." This report, Bertrand report 1987, which has defined the sustainable development for the first time. It means sustainable development is development that needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation, so that to meet their own needs. This is what the this next slide is. Hello, next slide. Can you move the slide, madam? Yeah, yeah. I asked the question regarding what is the difference between climate action and sustainability. Climate action is the part of the sustainability. Sustainability is the broader concept encompassing the including it includes climate action also. But whereas climate action is specifically refers to taking steps to directly combat climate change by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and adapting to its impacts. One is reducing greenhouse emissions, that is mitigating strategy, and adapting to its impact is the adoption strategies. And it climate action solely addresses the climate change, whereas the sustainability initiatives looks at the bigger picture of the environmental, social, and economic factors to ensure long-term viability. And this climate action is a key component of sustainability, whereas sustainability includes climate action related actions also. And some of the actions which are coming under climate action include switching to renewable energy, planting trees, improving energy efficiency, etc. And under sustainability, it includes climate action plus other promoting ethical and labor practices, responsible consumption community, you see, all environment and governance, all these activities coming under the sustainability. Next slide, please. Madam, yeah, this is climate action is vital and urgent global response to the escalating challenges posed by the climate change, and it includes both mitigating and adapting strategies. Then next slide, please, madam. Next slide. Yeah, mitigation. What all the activities included? Hello. See, for example, reforestation project, and improving energy efficiency, using renewable energy sources, adapting to sustainable transportation, and storage of carbon capture and storage, waste reduction, sustainable land management practices coming under the mitigation strategies. Then adoption strategies include, if there is a, change in the ecosystem, and if there is, because of the adverse climate change and extreme weather events, sea level rise and shifting, if there is a rainfall pattern change, how do we adjust with all those things? So for example, developing new varieties to which are adjustable to the changing seasons. All these things coming under the adaptation strategy. Next slide, please, madam. Then, before going to climate change, what is weather change, or whether climate change and weather change are one and the same? Anyone?
No,
Hello?
sir. No, weather is actually
Uh,
the short-term fluctuations in the
Yeah.
climatic conditions. That means that whereas weather climate denotes seasonal variations.
Yeah, you are right. Fluctuations in short-term conditions of lower atmosphere, such as precipitation, temperature, humidity, wind direction, wind speed, atmospheric pressure, all these things are referred as the weather change. It may be, in a particular day, there may be a sunny day in the morning, and evening there may be a cloudy, weather. And morning it may rain, and evening there may be a dry, or vice versa. And or it may be a month, or 1 month it may be there may be a rain, and suddenly there may be a sunshine, and dry weather may be there, and cold and hotter, windy to calm, all these things coming under the weather change. Next slide, please. Hello. Then what is the climate change? Climate change is long term alterations in the average weather patterns. That is on a particular day or something, whereas it is average over the period across the region, and including temperature, precipitation, wind patterns, both. It may be particular temperature or precipitation. Also, it includes all these factors also, usually observed over a decade or longer. Normally 30 years is the minimum period which may look into climate changes. Then global warming. Global warming is a type of climate change. It is already having measurable effect on the planet in the form of melting Arctic sea ice, retreating glaciers, rising sea levels, increased frequency, intensity of extreme weather events, and a change in animal and plant ranges. Madam, next slide, please. Yeah, some of the climate issues. See, there was an organization called that Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC. The main role of this organization is to assess the climate change related issues, scientific information on the climate change, and inform the governments across the globe, and the multilateral organizations also. And this organization was set up by the international meteorological organization, and as well as the United Nations Environment Program. Both together, they have set up this organization in 1988. These organizations are reporting these assessment reports regularly. As per these, there is these unless we limit this, our temperature 1.5 degree to, or even 2 degree. If we go beyond that, it will go. Because of these, unless we reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, it will go beyond 1.5 degree, or even to beyond that. This report has made, in its report, it has reported. And there is a carbon dioxide concentration, sea level rise, Arctic sea ice, and glaciers retreat. All these things were reported. How what has happened in across the regions, they are reporting it. And next slide, please. Then these climate change has a lot of effect, like heat waves and a lot of disasters, droughts, crop failures, river floods, wildfires. You might have seen recently there was fires at California and all these things. And also in India we have seen a lot of floods and cyclones. All these things, these are all effect of climate change. Next slide, please. Hello. Yeah, and there are physical impacts. This climate change has physical impact as well as economic impact. In terms of physical impact, rainfall pattern, change in the rainfall, higher temperatures, sea level rise, storms and cyclones, and coming to this has been translated into economic impacts also. Because of all these changes, there will be a reduction in the productivity, and because of the labor productivity may come down, and all these things will lead to the economic impacts. Next slide, please. Yeah. 2024 was the hottest year on the record so far. Last global average temperature compared with the pre-industrial average. See, the pre-industrial average refers to which year? Any idea? Whenever we talk about climate change, we discuss that pre-industrial this temperature increase in the temperature. A reference period is given pre-industrial average. What is that year? Any idea? Pre-industrial
Sir,
average temperature.
1900, sir. 1900.
Mhm. The pre-industrial average temperature is 11.48 degree Celsius, and this was this period refers to, just a minute, 1850. This 1850 period refers to 1850. Then this temperature initially 1850 11.48 degree was there. Then later it rise to in 1990 it has 0.27 has come down, and then 2016 it has again raised 0.99 degree, it has increased, and again in 2024 it has crossed the pre-industrial average, that is 1.54 degree has crossed. See, now we have to bring it down to 1.5 degree centigrade, but the issue is it has crossed now itself. It has crossed. It is a target now. Next slide, please. Carbon dioxide levels are higher than any time in the last 8 lakh years. This 2024 carbon dioxide levels are much higher, and these are the concerns. Next slide, please. Then what causes this climate change? See, if you look at this whole graph, it talks about the carbon dioxide emissions, atmospheric concentration. If you look at the graph, up to 1900, it was almost flat. Curve is flat, and 1900 onward, it has steeply it has increased. That means the all industrial activities and development activities has led to this change in the carbon dioxide emissions, increase in the carbon dioxide emissions, and also other greenhouse gases. Next slide, please. Yeah. What are the factors? Factors broadly classified into natural factors and human factors. Natural factors include solar activity, volcanic eruptions, ocean currents, latitude and elevation, etc. And human factors include burning fossil fuels, deforestation, even agriculture, using transportation, energy in building, manufacturing. All these things contributed to the climate change. And if you look at the human factor and natural factor, after the 1900, means after the industry, all these industrial revolution and other things, these human activities has led more, contributed more to this climate change. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is again how this industrial revolution, what are the characteristics of that. There were three industrial revolution: 1760 to 1840, 1870 to 1914, 1950 to 2000. See, when you come to the after 1900, these activities pace has increased. As a result, development pace has increased. As a result, it has contributed to a great extent to the climate change. Next slide, please. Some of the inventions, like see, use of basic material like iron and steel factories, then use of energy sources like including both fuels such as coal, steam engine, electricity, petroleum products, IC engines, invention of new machines that permitted increased production during this industrial revolution period. All these technological changes taken place, and new organization of work known as factory system was started, and which entailed increased division of labor and specialization of this Adam Smith theory. This fact, division of labor and specialization came into picture, and factory system has increased, and important development in transportation and communication, including steam locomotives, steamships, automobile, airplane, telegraphs, radio, etc. All these technological changes made the increased use of natural resources, and also it led to the climate change. Yes, next slide, please. Yeah, there were yeah, this is a slide or previous one. Yeah, next slide, please. This one. Yeah, there are some international mechanism to address climate change, particularly intergovernment panel on climate change, which I have discussed previously. This has reported that increase of carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide in the atmosphere over the industrial era is the result of human activities, and that human influence is the principal driver of many changes observed across the atmosphere, ocean, and biosphere, etc. And also there is another mechanism, that is United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which is which has made the commitment to the beginning of the end of fossil fuel era and targeted net zero carbon emission by 2050. And there is also WHO, which is also working on these issues. And next slide, please. Yeah, I discussed regarding the greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases are chemical compounds in the Earth's atmosphere that trap heat and contribute to the greenhouse effect. The main greenhouse gases include carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, water vapor. Other greenhouse gases include ozone, halocarbons, chlorofluorocarbons, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons, sulfur. See, these are the other. See, particularly some of these water vapor and other things you cannot control, because earth has the water, and this cannot. But whereas carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, all these things need to be reduced. And see how this greenhouse effect works. Any idea? Next slide, please.
Sir, it keeps the earth warm, sir, suitable for living, sir. If it exceeds, it causes increase in temperature. So it keeps the
Yes,
earth
you are
warm.
right.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
earth will become a
actually,
cold planet.
yeah, actually, these gases are required. But what is happening is it is excess is creating the problem. And what has happened is because of this greenhouse. Why this is called greenhouse? It is just like a greenhouse what we use in agriculture. It is something like a glass house and this glass house is there. This is these gases are making the this blanket type. As a result, whatever earth will be warm, but because this has too much gas, as a result, this concentration has increased. As a result, it has temperature has increased. That is how this see, Earth's atmosphere is like a greenhouse. Greenhouse gases make Earth warmer, and burning fuel to power factory, car, buses, all these things releases greenhouse. Next slide, please. Though there is one video, but I will skip it because already it is time. And these greenhouse effects and global warming. This enhanced greenhouse effect, whatever increased gases concentration, keeps more heat on Earth with rising land and ocean surface temperature. This is called global warming, and causes this is causing stronger hurricanes and cyclones, rising sea levels, desertification, decreases in snow cover and sea ice. Each day, new greenhouse gas emissions further accelerate these physical changes. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions can have real impact and fight the effect of global warming. See, these are some of the this one. Next slide, please. Yeah, this slide gives the what is the sector-wise percentage in global emission, greenhouse gas emissions. See, if you look at this, industry contributes 29%, and electricity generation itself contributes 29%. Out of these industries, oil and gas 5%, iron and steel 5%, and in case of electricity, coal itself is 21%. It is contributing use of coal 21%, and natural gas 7%. If we reduce this fossil fuel to some extent, 29%, we can reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. And coming to the agriculture, agriculture is also contributing 20%. Out of this 7%, livestock, crops usage 6%. Then buildings, residential buildings where we use non-conventional energy and other things, which is also contributing 7%. Transport, where this use of gas and all these things, it is contributing around 15%. Next slide, please. Then, if you look at the country-wise, see, China is the first leading in greenhouse gas emission, followed by United States, and then India. Though earlier it was EU countries, they have reduced it, and then there are other countries also. India stands third in the percentage share in the global greenhouse gas emissions and per capita emissions. Next slide, please. Then this gives the global greenhouse gas emission 1990 to 2022. Over the years, it is constantly increasing over the years. Different, CO2 combustion, uncombustion, and methane. All these gases are increasing. Next slide, please. What are the impact on soil, water, and air? All these climate change impact on soil, water, and air. See, there will be a soil in case of land and soil erosion will be there, drought and desertification, soil moisture will be, just a minute. Yeah, soil moisture and see, one of the reason is this carbon absorbing, and because soil will not be able to absorb the carbon, and fertility is reduced, and then pH, soil pH is changing. As a result, either acidic or alkaline, it becomes alkaline or acidic. And then soil structure, biodiversity. For example, there will be a lot of beneficial, living organisms in soil. Those will be affected, and then organic matter will be reduced, and there are ultimately it will impact on the agriculture productivity, crop yields, affect the food security also. Then coming to the impact of climate change on the water quality will be and water availability also, like drought, saltwater intrusion, and ocean level, sea levels rise, ocean acidification, and ocean currents change, and then as a result, climate change also again it will affect on the other rainfall and other things also. It will affect rainfall and see the irregularity of the rainfall, as well as the seasonal change in the season, and air in terms of air, it will be air quality, increased ozone. It will some of the this it may create some health hazards, like in case it based on it may create asthma type of this one, and there will be wildlife emissions. Pollens may create fever or allergy, and uh, all the health hazards will be there. More severe storms, hotter temperature, warming and rising ocean, not enough food, loss of species. There may be some endangered species might be there. More health risks, poverty and displacement also. Many this one is there. And then next slide, please. And some of the global initiatives for climate action include United Nations Development Goals, SDGs, we need to achieve by 2030, and Paris Agreement 2015, and is legally binding international treaty on climate change, limit global warming to well below to preferably 1.5 degrees Celsius, and United Nations Climate Change Conference of Parties. And then sustainability account, if you look at the financial side, sustainability accounting standards board, global report initiative, task force on climate related financial disclosure, all these initiatives are happening side by side. Then next slide, please. Yeah, sustainable development goals. There are 17 goals and 169 targets. All these has to be achieved by 2030. What is the goal for climate action? It is there on the slide. Hello, which is the
Sir, goal 13.
yeah. Goal 13 is yeah, goal 13 is the climate action goal. Next slide, please. All these goals are cross-cutting and multi-dimensional, and social goals 1 to 6 are social goals like no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, and economic goals, SDG 7 to 11, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation, infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities. And coming to environmental goals, SDG 12, sustainable and consumption production, SDG 13, climate action, SDG 14, life below water, SDG 15, life on land. And fostering peace and prosperity, there are two goals, that is SDG 16, peace, justice and strong institutions, SDG 17, partnership for the goals. Next slide, please. Yeah. See, now we will discuss the important initiatives taken to fight climate change. The first initiative on environment, human environment, which was taken in 1972, that is United Nations Conference on the Human Environment. This conference held in the Stockholm in Sweden, the first world conference to make the environment a major issue. The participants adopted series of principles for sound management of the environment. 26 principles were adopted and all agreed to follow. And subsequently, next slide, please. See, after 20 years, after 20 years, in 1992, Rio Earth Summit was held. This was held at Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. In 1992, United Nations Conference on Environment and Development also known as the Earth Summit. It was also known as the Earth Summit, was held at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, in June 1992. This global conference held on the after 20th anniversary of the first Women Environment Conference, which was held in 1972. And this Brazil conference had come out with the new blueprint for international action on environmental and development issues that would help guide international cooperation and development policy in the 21st century. And then whatever international environment treaty was signed by 179 countries and in the Rio Earth Summit 1992, and later this treaty was came into force on 21st March 1994. At that time 198 countries, means parties, joined this treaty, and this treaty was known as the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Now this is the monitoring and monitoring the all these countries are reporting and complying with this treaty. And also these United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change is every year there is a conference. And next slide, please. See, all these countries whomsoever agreed to this United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, these countries are known as the parties. That is known as the Conference of the Parties. And these the Conference of Parties is yearly conference which serves as the formal meeting of United Nations. The members of this United Nations Convention on Climate Change, and in the COP, members assess progress in dealing with climate change and negotiate their targets and other things. And as a result, they came out with the Kyoto Protocol later years and established legally binding obligations for developed countries to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The first conference, so COP conference, was held in Berlin, Germany, 1995. And I see there are so far there are 29 COPs. I will not be discussing all the COPs. I will only focus on the some of the important COPs, like COP3 was held in Kyoto, Japan in 1997. This agreement at all the parties hereinafter known as Kyoto Protocol. This agreement was known as the Kyoto Protocol and came into force in 2005. And the 21st conference held in Paris. This is also a very important conference. It was held in 2015 and adopted by all the parties thereafter as Paris Agreement. It is known as the Paris Agreement, and it came into force in 2016. The latest conference, COP29, was held in Baku, Azerbaijan in November 2024. Next slide, please. Yeah. See, in this whole United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, this is main treaties, important treaties are Kyoto Protocol 1997 and Paris Agreement 2015. And this COP3, that is Kyoto Protocol, prepared a draft to reduce greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrogen, all these gases, and this protocol is this agreement is known as the Kyoto Protocol 1997. And there was also in COP3 was held in Montreal, Canada, 2005. Here, developed countries ministers attended. This conference was known as the MOP1, agreed to reduce greenhouse gases and finalize the guideline. And the Kyoto Protocol had the two schedules. One is 2008 to 2012. Second schedule is 2013 to 20. This is the implementation schedule. Though it was signed in 2000, 2005, 1997 it was held, and they came to conclusion in 2005, but it took time to implement. 2008 onwards it was implemented. 2008 to 2012 it was implemented, and second schedule was 13 to 20. Then the target was 5.2% reduction of greenhouse gas was the target of this Kyoto Protocol, and Paris Agreement. This was COP21 agreed to action plan after Kyoto Protocol. See, once this after 2020, this Paris Agreement was implemented, decided to give greenhouse gases to all the developed and developing countries also. In this Paris Agreement, developing countries also got the target like India. And some of the things which may be interested in the Kyoto Protocol was there were mechanisms to reduce these greenhouse gases, like clean development. There are three mechanisms. One is emission of trading, carbon trading. That is seen. If there are two developed countries, if one developed country has achieved the emission target less and the other was achieved more, then they can make a deal, exchange of the give some incentives and get the that credit of the shortage whatever achieved in the emission target. And this way both can achieve the target, as well as the country which has achieved excess target, they can get some incentives in terms of monetary benefits. In the same way, there was also within the region, within the country, within the region also they can do that. And there was a clean development mechanism. In this developed countries which have the target, which could not achieve the target emission target, they can give the technology to the these developing countries which don't have the target, and they can buy the these target achieved by because of this technology. If the developed country achieves that emissions, then that whatever excess emission the target whatever developed country achieves, that can be credited to the developed country somehow. And there is also joint implementation which is between the both the developed countries, with the technology transfer as well as the excess achievement of targets can be exchanged. Then there is Paris Agreement. In the Paris Agreement, next slide please. Yeah, in the Paris Agreement, they talked about the bringing the this temperature below 1.5 degrees centigrade with the pre-industrial era, and also they agreed to certain reduction in the carbon dioxide and the other things that and also we will discuss other things in the next slide. Here there is a comparative impact of global temperature rise. Say, for example, there is a biodiversity loss. Suppose if there is a temperature increase 1.5 degree, how much biodiversity will lose? 14% it will lose. And if there is a temperature rises to 2 degrees centigrade, 18% it will lose. And 3 degrees centigrade, 29% it will lose. And drought, see, it will affect 0.95 billion people. Suppose if there is a rise in temperature 1.5 degrees centigrade, and if there is a temperature rise, say for example 2 degree, then it will affect the 1.15 billion people, and 3 degree 1.29, like that. All the indicators, food security, fires, extreme heat, sea level rise, floods, coral reefs, all these things will be how if there is increase in temperature, how it impacts all these issues is reported in the this IPCC assessment report. Next slide, please. This is ecosystem based adaptation can protect lives. And see, one is a reduction mitigation strategy. Now coming to the adaptation, what all the things can be taken? See, I will not go in detail all these things. In each cases, see, for example, mountains, forests, and watershed, what we can do. If the hazard is loss of life and asset due to intense wildfires, solution is given forest management to reduce risk of superfires. Like that, each one is given the what effective strategies can be adopted to protect the lives and livelihood. Next slide, please. Then what we can do, suppose these are all the government can take action, and countries can take the action, whereas at a individual levels, what we can do, we can use less coal or fossil fuels, and invest in clean energy. We can go for solar energy, and see, while building the buildings can be built, decarbonized buildings, and shifting to the electrical vehicles and transportation, and see, all these things, and food loss wastage can be reduced. Like that, various strategies are there. Next slide, please. Then coming to the India's climate target and progress, emission intensity. See, India has to reduce emission intensity by 45% by 2030 compared to 2005. In case of developed countries, the reference point is 1991, whereas 90, whereas for India it is 2005. Developing countries it is 2005. Reduce emission intensity by 45% 2030 compared to 2005 levels. Non-fossil fuel power, we have to reduce by 50% by 2030 and carbon sink 2.5 to 3.5 gigatons through additional forest and tree cover. What is this carbon sink? Any idea? Hello.
Sir, it is a cycle of one of the stages of cycle of a carbon cycle, sir.
Mm-hmm.
That
In a
means that
simple word,
whatever.
see, in a simple this one, whatever carbon is there, it has to be absorbed. That is
Absorbed
what is
and
the
it has to be kept in
absorption
the ocean.
capacity. Yeah, that is through the additional forest and tree cover we can do that. That is what the whole how we are creating the additional forest and tree so as to make a provision to absorb these carbon emissions. Net zero achievement emission by 2070. India has to achieve by 2070 net zero emission. What is this net zero emission? Any idea? Hello. Does it
That is
mean that
without
we
any.
should not? Does it mean that we should not emit any carbon dioxide? Or carbon dioxide emission
No,
means
sir. Actually, it is
yeah.
not that meaning, sir. Actually, the
Yeah.
meaning is actually you can use the carbon provided it you have to plant more trees, and through preparation of food
Yes, you
you
are
have to
right.
take back
You are
the
right.
carbon.
See, there should be a balance between balancing of the whatever emission is there. It has to be balanced by the other activities. Next slide, please. This I will skip. Next slide, please. This also skip. Some plastic ban, and you go ahead. Go ahead. Next slide. EV policies. Next slide. Vehicle scrappage policy. See, all these measures, how we can we have taken steps to reduce our address these climate change and environmental issues. I have given various slides. Go ahead, madam. Next slide. Yeah, Delhi government initiative. Next. Goes net zero future. Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah, this slide gives the net zero strategy. Many corporates have taken in India now. Many corporates have taken on their own. They have also thought of how to achieve this net zero target. And next slide, please, madam. Yeah, Reliance, HDFC Bank, Mahindra, Infosys, Tata, all these they have given the set target how they when they will achieve that. All these companies. Next, please. Yeah, next, please. Yeah, next. This slide. India climate target and progress. We have the target of 45% by 2030, reduce the emission intensity. Now, what we have done is we have already installed the capacity to reduce that. Means already, as on May 31st, 2024, we have 45.4% of the installed electric generation capacity comes from non-fossil sources. This is almost achieved, but installation is there. It has to be utilized. Then carbon sink, India has already created a carbon sink of 1.97 billion tons of CO2 2005 to 2019. And forest cover, tree cover, 24% of India's land mass up to 21% in 2005. And decoupling of economic growth from emission, India's emission grew at a lower rate than its GDP. See, this is what that whatever growth in this emission should not exceed the economic growth. So that is also we are almost achieved, and we are on the path to achieve the net zero emission by 2070. Yeah, next slide, please, madam. Yeah, what are the measures we took for mitigate climate change? India started that it will carbon-free country by 2070. That is zero. A new plan. Then we have also taken some of the this one national action plan on climate change launched in 2008 to address climate change issues. India has implemented Bharat stage emission standards. Now we have implemented up to 4, and then we are skipping the 5, and now we have introduced 6, and several programs launched to promote energy efficiency, such as National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency, Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, which encourages household to use cleaner cooking fuels. Several policies, incentives like FAME India scheme, faster adoption, manufacturing hybrid and electrical ways, adoption of electrical ways. All these measures we have taken. Next slide, please. So far we have discussed the climate related issues. Now coming to the environment, E for environment, S for social, G for governance factors assume increasingly significance for every stakeholder, companies, asset managers, banks, regulators, or governments in recent years. And banks specifically are exposed to environmental risks faced by the borrowers and counterparties. See, what I'm discussing here, role of banks in in addressing the climate change. One part is they will be addressing it in their operational activities. For example, they may be using the less paper and more. This is one type of activity, internal work, how they are doing that. That part I will not be discussing, and I will be sharing some of the articles which you can go through it later. And as far as here, what I'm going to discuss is basically related to the ultimate borrowers. While lending activities, how can do that? ESG, better management of ESG parameters can minimize risks of business disruptions, improve performance in the long run by reducing dangers, regulatory costs, efficiency, resource use, enhance employee productivity, etc. for the companies, including financial companies. Next slide, please. Yeah, ESG metrics: environmental, climate change, resource depletion, waste pollution, deforestation, social, working condition, local community conflict, health and safety, employee relations and diversity. And coming to the governance, executive pay, bribery, corruption, board diversity and structure, all these things, including gender inclusion in the board, other things. Yeah, next slide, please. This you can flip. This is all related to how the companies scores, world companies, ESG scores, how it is there, different companies. Next slide, please. It is again banking companies. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah. We can skip this slide. Next. Some of the environmental impact has seen severely in India in the recent years. Cyclonic storms and disasters occurred in several parts of the country, floods in Kerala, landfalls in mountain states, Uttarakhand, droughts in Karnataka, Maharashtra, Then extreme drought events in Maharashtra, how these events, number of events is increasing from year to year. And cities like Mumbai and Chennai are seen to be at risk from rising sea levels. India is the top three nations when it comes to air pollution. We are also danger becoming water stressed zone. And yeah, next slide, please, madam. Yeah, what is the implication of these ESG related issues? Next slide. Yeah, before implication, why we do this? See, Supreme Court ruling on coal blocks in 2014. What has happened? That investment power 2 lakhs crores was there. This hit companies in power, steel, mining sector, besides banks that have lent to these companies. Next slide, please. Then SMEs in Belandur, National Green Tribunal has given order to government of Karnataka to shut down 76 highly polluting industries. Out of 96 in the vicinity of Belandur Lake in Bangalore in 2017, and this compensation they gave 5 lakhs on anyone found dumping waste in and around the lake. And next slide, please. Next slide, madam. Kanpur leather tanneries, and again this UP government set of country's first leather park in Kanpur under mega leather cluster. Next place, madam. Tata Motors exit from Singroor. You might have seen in 2008 in West Bengal, Singroor project was closed and they shifted to Gujarat. And at that time, Ratan Tata said, you cannot have total disregard for the rule of law. You cannot run a plant with police protection. You cannot run a plant with walls broken. You cannot run a project with bombs thrown. You cannot run a plant with people intimidated. That means, see, unless if you want to do business, you need to take all these ESG, that is social, environmental, as well as governance aspects. Unless you take that into account, you cannot run your business. Next slide, please. Vedanta project in Odisha. No, next slide, please. Narmada Bachao Andolan, how this has delayed the this one. Next. And Sterlite Copper in Tamil Nadu. Next slide, please. Array Milk Colony. See, all these things, see, Narmada Bachao Andolan, Sterlite, all these things delayed the project, delayed metro project, costed the, see, it all related to increased cost. 7 crore, 7,000 crore, it is the initial cost, it has budgeted, and it has gone up to 30,000 crores. Next, please. Power of media, and see, there is also these once this project is coming in, NGOs will step in, and all these public outcry, and these newspapers will come out. All these things will impact the companies as well as the companies which has lent to those companies. And to quote an example, see, in SBI, when they wanted to finance that Adani climate wrecking coal project in Australia, and BlackRock has threatened that they will divest from SBI. Like that, many issues, and some of the investors are becoming more climate and these environmental friendly project they prefer. All these things has come. Next slide, please. Next slide. See, there is a survey which has looked at the global warming among the youngsters. See, the survey has found out that youngsters are more, concerned about these global warming and other things. Next slide, please. Next slide, madam. And next slide. See, what I have given is see, all these firms and other, all these are there is an impact. And what is the implication for banks? For banks, sustainability is not just an ethical and moral. It is not only ethical and moral, but it can become an economic and existential question. See, because we are living in a society, unless as a bank, if you don't, respond to the societal call, your existence also will be under threat. And also, it is also economic when we lend to projects which are not environmentally sustainable, and then it may have implications. What I have discussed, some of the projects either delayed or it was shut. All these things will have implication on the economic cost, and in turn it will have the problem for the banks which has lent. It can impact on financial and non-financial risk present in a bank to varying degrees. Banks need to consider related issues in product design, pricing, sales decision. Consideration of ESG risk in a wide range of change process is a significance in maintaining capital. Next slide, please. How will bank contribute? See, banks have the fiduciary duty. What is that fiduciary duty? See, they are responsible for the not only the citizens but also to the depositors. When they are depositors responsible, they have to lend to the environmentally good projects and other things. Next slide, please. They need to look into the long-term profitability. Next slide. You can skip this slide. Next slide. There is also green finance. Banks can give green finance, and there is an article written by me that I will share it, and we'll skip this right now. Next slide, please. And social aspects. What we have discussed is morals and values in managing an organization, such as employee-related issues and supporting communities where company work, and ensure governance for benefit of our stakeholders. Next slide, please. Next slide, madam. Governance. There are certain corporate governance mechanisms as per the law. The Land Companies Act 2013, Marmangalam Birla Committee 1919, Narayan Murthy Committee 2003, board executives and their compensation, etc. A lot of things are deliberated. Next slide, please. ESG outcome have both risks and opportunity for Indian corporates and lenders. Recognize that business can't go for a free ride on environmental, social outcomes and governance. Companies have to fiduciary duties towards environment. Banks also have the fiduciary duties, and companies should focus on the triple bottom line: people, planet, profit. Banks in particular need to focus on environmental footprint, social impact, governance of their borrowing company. There is no choice but to accept this fact. Emerging challenges. Next slide, please. Next slide. Corporate social responsibility. See, it is a mandatory. India is the first country in the world to make corporate CSR as the mandatory. And next slide, please. Greenwashing. What is this greenwashing? Any idea? Hello? Hello?
Misleading, sir. Misleading.
Greenwash.
Misleading.
Yes, sir, you're
Yeah.
audible.
Yeah.
You are aware.
Misleading the information about ESG.
Okay. Next. Next slide, please. I will go fast because I think already I surpassed the time. ESG in financial sector, ESG ratings, ESG indices, ESG assets, ESG portfolios. Next slide, please. ESG performance correlated with better governance, better management, higher earnings. See, if you look at the company's performance in terms of ESG metrics, it generates better returns for the shareholders. There are empirical evidence. Next slide, please. This gives some idea about that. Green line depicts the Nifty ESG. This one, how it is faring. It is faring better than others. Next slide, please. This is also similar to that. Next slide, please. ESG scores. Yeah. Next slide. Next. There is a SEBI ESG framework, which is with how it has to be reported and other things. There is a guideline, and also RBI has draft guideline on climate related guidelines in January. I think they have issued somewhere in July. It has come, that draft guideline. Uh, Next slide. Business responsibility and sustainability report of SEBI. And next, a reporting framework has been recommended by the SEBI that needs to be followed by the corporates. Next. What are the materials to be this when you do the ESG rating? What are the things has to be taken? ESG material, environmental, social impact of products and services, human rights, data privacy, security, business ethics, bribery, corruption. These are some of the 20 items are there that you can go and go through it later. Next slide, please. This I will skip. Next. ESG rating. This also skip. Next. Rating framework, how they do rating and what are the points they take. Framework, preparedness, disclosure, performance, all these indicators are there. External, internal reporting, qualitative and quantitative. This is based on the Sustainalytics. There are various rating agencies like Sustainalytics and Care Rating and ICRA, CRISIL. Next slide, please. They have their own procedure. ESG rating for Indian banks. Some of the ESG scores: environmental score, social risk score, governance score, country level, and ESG score, overall ESG score. Next slide, please. ESGs in bank, how they fared, climate related financial risk as a material threat category. This is a survey which has how they felt opinion about foreign banks, private sector banks, public, how they opine regarding the ESG. Next slide, please. Next slide, madam. This is also related banks with personal sustainability. Banks operation all along their entire value chain. Considering sustainability in business strategy and organization setup, governance, adjustment of product and customer portfolio, identification, classification sustainable assets, refinancing the sustainable instruments, ESG risk in pricing and risk management, consideration of ESG risk within capital charge, inclusion of ESG criteria and distribution process. Reporting of own ESG means banks' own ESG risk and their impact to supervising authorities and stakeholders. ESG data management. These are some of the next slide, please. ESG risk in banks. What are the risks? Physical risk, transition risk, social risk, governance risk. What are the details? Risk coming under each category it is mentioned. Next. Physical, climate change, credit rating in probability of see how the probability. This is a model where climate change, how it is affecting, how it has to be taken into account, credit rating and probability of default is being estimated. Next slide, please. I think I am coming to the end. Next. Yeah, this is next slide. You can go through those things. It is available. KPMG report is there. From there I took it. You can go through that. This is all. Next, I think it is close. The world has enough for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed, Mahatma Gandhi has said. And also in the Paris Agreement, the Kofi Annan at that time, he said the world is reaching the tipping point beyond which climate change may become irreversible. If this happens, we risk denying present, future generations the right to a healthy and sustainable planet. The whole of the humanity stands to lose. Yeah. Thank you. Any question? Yeah. I think quickly, if the whether my questions are poll questions are there, madam.
Good evening, sir. We have your poll
Yeah.
questions ready. With your due permission, we would like to circulate it.
Yeah, it's okay. You can circulate among the participants. That is also okay. because already it is 9:30, I think. And before closing, see, two more things I wanted to mention here is many of you are faculties and um, you know. Research scholars. In case anyone wants to do some research, particularly ESG related or anything, I am happy to associate, and we can do a joint project, and we can do a good paper on that. If anyone is there, you can contact me. I have given my contact as well as email. Thank you one and all. If you have any questions, let me know.
Yes, so we will surely do the project with you. And I
Yeah.
request all the participants to ask your questions. Kindly go ahead, unmute yourself one by one and ask questions.
See, this emission target 50% is for India is committed 50%. Somebody has asked, Madan has asked a question whether India has to achieve net zero. See, basically net zero, all the countries, they have, I think, 2070 or something they have given. I think the year is, but India voluntarily has given that, I think, 2050 we are going to achieve by 2050. I think all the other see for developed countries it is difficult to achieve that, so they have put it as 2070. Any other question?
So there
Sir,
is a
I have
question.
too many. Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir, please, Alok, sir, please go ahead.
Sir, I have too many questions, but I'm going to connect you separately. But one thing I want to
Yeah.
say just, sir, your slide is like too comprehensive and detailed and too insightful. And I love to spend too much time with you. And surely
Yeah.
I am going to connect with
Yeah.
you, sir, because too many
Yeah.
concepts I saw in slide like ELV, EPR, and
Yeah.
green finance, green bond. Too many. I think all the concept, whatever we read about ESG, then all
Yeah.
the concept and all the terms given in this PPT. So this is
Yeah. Thank you.
lovely PPT, sir. And I think all the person who is attending this session is going to learn too many things from that PPT and from your lecture.
but
So
I had a doubt whether they understand, because I had a lot of information, but uh, given the time, I found it is difficult to explain each one. That is what I found the time. Otherwise, we could have discussed it in detail. But given the 1.5 hours, I think it is very difficult to discuss this entire topic in time, because otherwise, if the session was on at the end of this, I could have concentrated only on banks. But because the session was the first day, I thought I need to discuss a little bit about climate change concepts and initiatives, global initiative and other things. So it took it became very mix of all, and to some extent it is too much for a 1.5 hour session, I suppose. Yeah.
yeah, so rightly said, rightly said.
Yeah.
Sir, there is a
Yeah.
question in a chat box asked by
Yeah.
Dr. Madan. He's asking,
Yeah.
shall
Yeah.
all the nations in general and
No.
India
No, I have answered that question. See, for India, India is committed. They have to achieve the net zero emissions by 2050. Whereas, see, all the countries, the developed countries, have the 2070 for achieving the this target. But India voluntarily accepted it to achieve it by 2050. Yeah. Any other question? I think already it is 9:38. Uh,
Okay.
Before concluding, I sincerely thank Professor Manavendra Pratap Singh and also Mousimi Ghosh for inviting me for this wonderful FDP. And if possible, I will try to attend few sessions in the days to come, and I will also will be benefited from this program. And I thank one and all for patiently hearing my I don't know. See, as a faculty, we know how to make a lecture, but hearing becomes difficult, because I also experienced that. I think you all patiently for 1.5 hours you are there, and thank you and all. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for
Yeah,
accepting our invitation.
thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, one more question, sir. Prabhakaran, sir.
Yeah. Tell
Sir,
me, sir.
are you residing in Tamil Nadu, sir?
No, I am in Mumbai. Tell me, sir.
No, actually,
Meenakshi?
I was working.
Yeah.
Yeah, Meenakshi Sundar. Actually, I was
Yeah.
working in Subbalakshmi Lashmi College, where we have an MOU with IIBF.
Yeah.
So that time I was actually we were the institute that we had a tie-up for making DBF courses. So because now I am presently working in Muhammad Sadak Engineering College, Kedakkarai, Tamil Nadu. So if at all, if I need to make any MOU for